Hello, my name is James Manning and I'm a Network Systems Engineer at Dell EMC. Today I'm going to speak to you about enabling a software-defined data center by utilising Dell EMC's open network technologies and VMware NSX. Today, as organisations look to consume IT services in support of digital and workforce transformation, the inefficiencies of traditional network architectures are becoming ever more apparent. To look a bit closer at these inefficiencies, I need to initially go back to a time pre-virtualization when organizations traditionally had a physical server or host onto which they overlaid an operating system and upon that built an application, one-to-one computing. And collecting these servers or hosts together were physical network switches. And network hardware like routers, load balancers, and firewalls provided external connectivity. With the introduction of the hypervisor, it led to consolidation of resource and maximizing the use of the infrastructure that you'd invested in. So now organizations could create virtual machines, operating systems, and applications, and they could create, snapshot, clone, and deploy these virtual machines in hours, minutes, and even seconds. And all of these additional virtual machine overheads are creating additional capacity and complexity towards our traditional network. So, for example, with our new generation 14th generation PowerEdge server family and the Intel scalable Xeon processors, the density of virtual machines that reside on a physical host is only ever increasing, and demands that places upon that physical network are growing by the day. So capacity becomes an issue in support of all of the virtual surfaces that reside above the physical layer. It's often complex to manage and configure these architectures. They tend to traditionally be manual in how network resources are provisioned in order to support these virtual machines. Security of the virtual machines is quite difficult to achieve, and also all of this is quite costly from both a capital and operational expenditure point of view. With VMware NSX, we now have the ability to do some quite interesting things in the hypervisor directly with networking. And the hypervisor is the perfect place to actually address the challenges of a virtual and physical workload, as it actually sits perfectly between the software and physical layers. With VMware NSX, we can now insert directly network services directly into the hypervisor itself. And this actually becomes even more beneficial when we look at a software-defined data center as a whole. For a long time now, the orchestration and management has been virtualized and placed in software-defined technologies, compute also, and storage. And software defining these technologies has led to the term of the software-defined data center. But the reality is that the orchestration and automation benefits of a software-defined data center are still very much reliant upon the physical and traditional network architecture that resides below it. And this even becomes more relative as we look to bimodal platforms and the next generation of IT services. When we talk about multi-site or multi-cloud service delivery, the provisioning of network services and the consumption and security of these services is extremely difficult to achieve. And in fact, without software-defined networking, it's almost impossible to achieve a hybrid approach in support of digital and workforce transformation. So some of the key areas that NSX actually resolves, we're going to look into a little bit more closely now. The first area I want to speak about is security. In traditional network traffic, we've put a large perimeter firewall on the outside of our networks. And these firewalls are believed to actually protect our organizations from data breaches or pervasive security threats. The reality is, however, that in order to hit the perimeter firewall, this is commonly in a north-south traffic direction. Within virtual workloads, almost 70% of our traffic is actually east-west. With VMware NSX, we can directly tie firewall services to each virtual machine in our network and policies, meaning that upon the creation of a virtual machine and throughout its whole life cycle as it moves across the software-defined data center and even into a multi-site or multi-cloud environment, the organizational policies and security postures are applied all the way until the retirement of that virtual machine. The second key area where NSX can address is in the area of automation. Again, the real benefits of a software-defined data center or a multi-site, multi-cloud approach is that we can now provision and consume resources and services in a much more fluid way. But in the reality is that a lot of these services still require to create a service level request within an IT organization to get the network services provisioned in order to support that virtual workload or application. Again, with VMware NSX, we can directly tie network policies to each virtual machine, meaning that we can now consume IT as a service in a much more fluid way. And the final area that VMware NSX can address is in and around availability. So organizations that are running multiple data centers or cloud fabrics, they find a real challenge when they try to fail over these workloads because the virtual appliances, when they see a different physical network underlay beneath it, sometimes don't adapt or don't actually provision themselves correctly, and service can be denied or in some cases actually stopped altogether. With VMware NSX, we can actually deliver a consistent approach of service level, again, moving with a virtual machine, regardless of where it actually sits within our IT service platform. All of this still requires a traditional physical network in terms of actually delivering these communications. And with Dell EMC Open Networking, we have the ability to provide a fabric underlay for the NSX fabric overlay that can give organizations choice and flexibility in terms of the network operating system they choose to deploy. It can give them the choice of fabric network underlays in order to automate service provisioning, security posture, layer 2 adjacency or application awareness. And also it will reduce your capital and operational expenditure model by disaggregating hardware from software and giving more choice. So to summarize, with NSX, we're able to address 3 key areas. We can now provide microsegmentation, which is effectively applying security at a granular level directly to each virtual machine and that exists with a workload throughout its IT lifecycle. We can enhance the automation of IT service delivery by providing orchestration and network service orchestration with virtual workloads throughout its life cycle, regardless of the services platform on which it lies. And we can also provide application continuity by, again, providing service insertion directly through a virtual machine. That means that there's consistency and that the policies of our organization are carried regardless of the model or the platform or the place in which it's running. If you'd like to learn more about Dell EMC Open Networking and VMware NSX, please contact your account team and they will put you in touch with your local networking specialists who'll be happy to assist you in evaluating your journey. Thank you.